Today we're going to take a look at the 2022 Honda Trail 125, a little bike with many names as it's also called the Hunter Cub in other corners of the world and universally known as the CT125. We'll talk about what Honda changed for this year, its specs and features, and where it fits into Honda's constantly growing mini-moto motorcycle lineup. Plus, we'll start it up and show you what this little sewing machine sounds like and a lot more as we go over everything you need to know about the CT125. But first, if you guys find any info in this video helpful, please take a second and hit the like button. Liking the video and throwing a comment below really helps with growing this channel through YouTube's algorithm, which in return helps me create more videos, and I really appreciate the help. So first up, where does the CT fit into Honda's current 125cc mini bike lineup that they've dubbed their mini moto models? Let's quickly run through them. We'll start off first with the cheapest, which is the Grom that starts at $34.99 with ABS being an option for $300, while the rest of them come standard with ABS. Then we move over to the models that are throwbacks to some of Honda's most iconic motorcycles from back in the day, with the Super Cub at $37.99 and this Trail that we're looking at today bumping you up to $39.99. Followed up by your final and most expensive option, the Honda Monkey. And no, I didn't forget about the Navi that Honda has lumped into this category, but it's technically a scooter and not a motorcycle like the others. However, it is sporting the best price tag of them all at only $1,807, and if you want to learn more about any of these models, check out some of my past videos on them that'll have linked below. And now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump into some more info on the Trail 125. Now, do you have any options when buying this bike? Nope. Unlike other corners of the world that have pearl organic green, matte fresco brown, and glowing red, we're stuck with a ladder. Now, I'm not really going to complain that much as some of you don't even get the opportunity to buy this bike no matter the color. Shout out to my European viewers, but still, I'd love to see some of these color options make their way to the States. But what do you guys think? Now let's get into some details on the chassis and suspension. The CT125 steel backbone frame is based off of the Super Cub, but with a few tweaks. One being that they reinforced the head pipe while also redesigning the triple clamp for an improved balance of rigidity and flex, since the CT is meant to handle being off-road as well. The rear was also extended to make room for this awesome cargo rack setup that gives you plenty of room to throw your equipment on or to mount up different trunks, basket, and bag setups. Or if you'd rather haul a passenger around instead, that's an option too thanks to the million different accessories available, but we'll get more to that shortly. Its curb weight comes in at 259 pounds, which is slightly more than the Super Cub, but with that you get a larger 1.4 gallon fuel tank, and 0.4 gallons may not seem like a lot, but when you're talking about 100 plus miles per gallon, it makes a big difference. The seat height is right at 31.5 inches, which is right at 0.8 inches taller than the Cub, but with that increase you're also getting an extra 1.1 inches of ground clearance, bringing it to 6.5 inches, which will definitely help those that are wanting to take this off-road. And thankfully, Honda thought about those buyers and threw on a little skid plate here for added protection when you're bringing out your inner child. You know, when you had no mechanical sympathy and ran over everything in sight. Oh my! When it comes to suspension, up front you have a teeny tiny, non-adjustable 27mm fork that brings in 4.3 inches of travel, while out back you have a twin shock setup that's bringing in right at 3.4 inches of travel with no adjustability. Attached to both ends are a set of 17-inch spoke wheels, and they may look like your standard gloss black wheels at a distance, but they've got a matte finish to them, which is a nice touch. With those wheels sporting a set of matching 80x90 dual sport style tires to help with traction both on and off road. And to help slow that front wheel down, you have Honda's anti-lock braking system paired up with a 220mm disc brake with a 2-piston caliper. While out back, unlike the Super Cub that has a drum brake, you have a 190mm disc with a single piston caliper clamping down on it. And next up, let's get into the engine and drivetrain. The CT125 has a single overhead cam, 2-valve, 124.9cc single cylinder engine that's air cooled, which is the recipe Honda loves when it comes to building the most indestructible engines on the planet. Now the CT and Super Cub share the same fuel injected engine setup, which is slightly different than the Monkey and Grom, but I don't want to get sidetracked and bore you with a 10-minute explanation of those nitty-gritty details, so we'll save that for another day. But with that being said, Honda did throw a different tune at this bike, and paired up with that and the intake and exhaust changes, you've got more bottom end and mid-range power than the Cub, and it comes on earlier in the power band, as you can see here. However, part of that punchier feeling when getting on the throttle is thanks to the more aggressive gearing with a 3-teeth larger sprocket out back. And speaking of gearing, when it comes to changing gears, it doesn't get any easier than on this bike. Well, it does with an automatic, but that's beside the point. Just like with the Super Cub, the Trail 125 has a semi-automatic 4-speed transmission with a heel-toe shifter. With the neutral being at the bottom, all you have to do is click up for first gear, twist the throttle to go, and let off as you click away through the gears. It doesn't get much easier than that. And when it comes to maintaining this drivetrain package, you don't have to worry about breaking the bank, as there's not much to it, and with it not having an oil filter like the Monkey and Grom, it makes things even easier and cheaper. Plus, the fact that it holds less than a quart of oil is nice on the wallet. Now let's bounce around the bike and touch on a few different things. You may be asking yourself, where's the fuel cap? Just like the Super Cub, it's tucked up under the seat, which is where you'll also find an Allen wrench that helps you open the toolbox hidden under your cargo rack, and here's everything that comes in your big whopping toolkit from Honda. Yep, a screwdriver. Wow. You also have LED lighting all around the bike, and I love that they didn't just recycle a set of turn signals they had in the parts bin, but instead designed something that's exclusive to the CT as a throwback to the original. Plus, they're mounted up a little higher, unlike most that are right beside the headlight. And another thing that sets this bike apart from the Super Cub is that it comes standard with a side stand. Now, it may not seem like a big deal, but if you're constantly getting on and off, a side stand is so much easier.
Stupid statement.
And then of course you've got the center stand when you need it. How about storage? Do you have any? Nope, but you have a ton of accessories to help you strap stuff down, so we'll cut it some slack there. And that leads me to my next point. If you like to modify your toys, or if you think the CT is almost perfect but just needs a slight tweak here or there, the sheer number of modifications you can do to this bike with just bolt-on goodies is absolutely insane. And that's because this bike is a hit all over the world, so you not only have Honda creating accessories for the Trail 125, but you also have countless aftermarket companies out there doing the same. And if you'd like to check out some of those options, I'll have them linked below as well. But if you're one of those that likes to go a step beyond bolt-on parts, again, the possibilities are endless, as you can see here. And speaking of endless possibilities, if you haven't seen them already, check out my recent custom Honda Monkey 125 build videos from my trip down to the speed shop. That'll give you a taste of what's possible with these mini bikes. Also, if you'd like to see what's possible when it comes to taking the CT125 off-road, check out Chris's channel that's linked below. He's taken his on some cool adventures, and his channel is definitely worth checking out. Now let's start it up and show you what this sewing machine sounds like in stock form, and then we'll come back for a few more things. And that's the 2022 Honda Trail 125. So what did Honda change for this year? The only change to the 2022 CT 125 comes in the way of pricing with a $100 increase over last year. Hopefully the other change that comes for this year is a massive increase in availability, as let's face it, the whole Rona mess ruined the first year of this bike's release here in the States, with dealers barely able to get enough inventory to scratch the surface when it comes to the overall demand that's out there for this bike. It's still going to be a while before we see any sort of normalcy with inventory levels, but hey, we can only go up from here with the tiny number of units that were delivered last year. Positive thoughts, guys, positive thoughts. But that's enough of me rambling on. What do you guys think about the CT125? Is there anything you wish Honda would have done differently? Maybe a high-low transmission like the original? A 5-speed transmission from the Monkey and Grom? Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments section, and I'll be joining in on the conversation too. Thanks again for watching and supporting all of this. I really appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. But first, I want to take a quick second and say thank you to Southern Honda Power Sports for opening their doors to me and allowing me to come pick through their inventory for these videos. They are a massive Honda Power Sports dealer here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, with tons of inventory from new Hondas to used Harleys and everything in between that they sell to people from all over the USA. So check out the link in the description below and head over to their website to see if they can save you some money on your next toy.